Senior faculty fellow from Yale University, who is Mr. Arun Sinha, who is going to give us a fantastic perspective of how we're going to pull all of the customer centricity in the digital age together. Arun, are you around? Thank you very much.
That's all right. That's all right. We are all in the family. So while they are setting it up, let me just tell you what I'm going to be doing. It should be up very soon. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a case study. So I'm a professor. I've become a professor at Yale University, and normally you teach with case studies. So I'm not trying to teach here, but I'm going to give you some case studies. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Before I go, can you just play this?
Hey there. Long time no see. Looking good.
Yeah. Let's just keep this simple. I want a divorce.
What now?
I think you heard me just fine.
Come on. This is me. What's wrong?
We don't talk anymore.
I just put down $1 million on a TV commercial just to talk to you.
Exactly. You do all the talking. I never get a chance.
Talk on our website, can't you?
Sure. If I want to say, order this product.
See?
It's not exactly a dialogue.
What about the print campaign, You can't tell me you missed a billboard in Times Square. That was like a 200-foot tall declaration of love.
You're saying you love me, but you're not behaving like you love me. It's not genuine.
I don't know. The agency said I was genuinely being funny. Genuinely being charming. They said you would love everything I did.
Would you keep your voice down? You're not doing a radio commercial. Look, whether you're funny or not, it's just, I've changed, and you haven't. I mean, we don't even hang out in the same places anymore. You're not even listening, are you?
Coupons. You want coupons, don't you? Look, come by the store. I got 2 words for you. Loyalty, reduction. Am I right? That was it, wasn't it? Let's just hug.
If you knew me, you'd know I don't care about that.
Know you? Sweetheart, I know everything about you. You're 28 to 34. Your online interests include music, movies, and laser hair removal. You have a modest but dependable disposable income. Am I the only one not getting the problem here?
I'm out of here.
Oh, come on. Don't be like that. Look, I'll tell you what. Come back here tomorrow. I'll give you the chance to win a Bahamas vacation.
Well, this is exactly what's going on with consumers today. And the marketers are not responding. Not at all. I mean, if you think about it, the marketers are struggling today how to respond. So the biggest issue, these are the major changes happening in the world today. First is consumer behavior is changing quite a bit. So the way people used to behave, the way they used to buy, that's all gone. So you got to learn new discipline, new ways, new approach, media habits. You know, speaking of media habits, in one day in Olympics, the opening ceremony of Olympics had more tweets than the 2008 Beijing Olympics combined. Think about that. So you're not getting your news from TV or other places, but primarily from social media and other those elements of it. Global technology. We all, you know, I'm sure all of you have your either BlackBerry or Android or iPhones out, and you're already doing some multitasking, that aspect of it. So the devices, the kind of devices that you have today is very different. And how do you really get the consumers? So if I want your attention and you have so many devices, so many ways, how do I get your attention? The third is my real favorite one, the big data. And how big is this big data? It's really huge. 2.7 zettabytes. So now I'm not a math major, I'm not an engineer. So I asked my high school going son, I just asked him day before yesterday, before leaving, I said, I'm going to mention this word zettabytes. Could you tell me what it is? And he goes, oh, you don't know that? I said, no. He goes, It's 1 trillion gigabytes. That's how much of data you're going to be consuming in 1 year. 1 trillion gigabytes. So I said, what is 1 trillion gigabytes? He says, Dad, it's very simple. You write 1 and put 21 zeros next to it. That's what it is in terms of data. That's how much data in 1 year we'll all be generating. So if you're a marketer, what are you going to do with all that? That's the real question. Think about it. It's so big that you're getting so much data. How are you going to leverage all that? Capital. It's an amazing amount of capital available today. So if you're an entrepreneur, this is the best time ever. Whatever you want to start, whichever company. I just heard Vinod was mentioning that Flipkart, right, it's got a valuation of about $1 billion or something like that. That's capital, amazing amount of capital. And the last thing, which I really want to, I just borrowed this actually, Mary Meeker from Kleiner Perkins, she just talked about reimagination of nearly everything. And her point was really very simple. The old days, reimagination of computing devices. You had desktops, now it's all tablet and smartphones. You remember those landline phones? Now everyone has it in their pocket. Facebook, you walk into somebody's house, you see all kinds of pictures, and now today you have it on Facebook. I just talked about Twitter. Magazine. In my iPod, I had at least about 15 different magazines that I can read right in one place. Books, same thing with books. GPS, you name it. I mean, the world is changing from customer service standpoint. Now the major department stores, they do not have checkout lines. They have guys carrying this iPad, and basically, whatever you want to buy, you just give them your card, they'll swipe it, and you can go home from there. It's as simple as that. Interestingly, though, as a marketer, we have not responded to these changes. In the US, for example, we spend 7% of our time reading print, like either newspaper or magazines. But the advertisers spend almost about quarter of their dollars into the print medium. The world which is really exploding is mobile. That's where they're really, and I don't think we have caught up yet. India is the only country, the first country. This is an amazing. In May 2012, in this country, the mobile internet overtook the desktop internet. So I know what you all are doing right now. You all are on internet and checking different things, right? So as a professor, I would say pay attention to what I'm going to say. So if all these things are going on, so many changes going on, and if you're running a company, then how do you really transform a company to bring it together? And that's what I'm going to talk to you about. This is from my background. Prior to this, prior to Yale, I was the global chief marketing officer for Zurich Financial Services. And I'll tell you a little bit about Zurich in a moment. And before that, I was a chief marketing officer for Pitney Bowes. So learning from there. If you have to transform, you got to get customer centricity in your company. So if there was anything you can take away from this conference, you should take away this. You got to get your company to focus on customers. And how do you really get your company to focus on your customers? It's very simple to say that, but it's almost impossible to do it. So I'm going to take you through my journey and have you walk into my shoes, right? First, you got to build a brand. Second, come up with a big idea. Without that big idea, you cannot make that change. Third, make sure everyone does understand that customer centricity is the key part of your strategy. Fourth, align your internal leadership. It doesn't matter whether you run an agency or you run an association or you run a company. If your internal leadership is not aligned, you're doomed to fail. And then with that, also your customer base. Align those quite well. Fifth, you got to create marketing. We're all in marketing, and we got to do that. And last, you're going to leverage social media. So for the next 15 minutes or 20 minutes, walk into my shoes and see how I did it at Zurich and take away some of those learning and try that at your place. Does anybody know about Zurich? Not even one hand, right? Or maybe 2 or 3 hands. It's a huge company, by the way. It's the 3rd largest global insurer in the world. 70, almost 69, now it's $75 billion in revenue, close to $5 billion in profit, AA rating, amazing solvency rate, 16% return on equity commitment. That is very hard to do in this world. 84,000 employees worldwide, about 35 million customers, all types of customers, including if you're buying a house or car or buying a D&O policy for your company. We started the journey with consolidating lots of different brands. We had 63 we have lots of hundreds of companies, but in the end, I consolidated 63 different companies. For example, in the UK, people from UK, they would know there's a company called Eagle Star. Eagle Star has been around for 200 years. We consolidated that. So think about this. So it sounds very simple, we consolidated that. All these companies had a CEO running those companies. When you consolidate, think about the emotional aspect. They're no longer CEO of the company. They become a general manager. So how would you react in an organization when you just got demoted from being a CEO in your visiting card? You said, I'm the CEO of this company. Not anymore. So the amount of resistance that you were going to go through it, right? That's the story that I'm talking about. So we consolidated that all to Zurich, created a big idea. And the big idea for us was, from a brand standpoint, everybody does that. There's nothing unique about this thing. We said Zurich delivers when it matters, so you feel valued, taken care of, treated as an individual. It's a mouthful. So from that, we created something in a more consumer terminology. We called it Zurich Help Point. And really leveraged the Zurich Help Point to build across the world, in 170 countries, by the way. And we are not in India. We used to be in India and walked away from India because of the regulations issues and all that. So how do you really go about it? We looked at all our products. We had thousands and thousands of products. Literally, by some count, someone told me there, we had close to about 48,000 products. And if you had SKU, we had probably 1 million SKU, if you can think about it, because every product has lots of different elements to it, right? And the organization, the first thing they said, we are not customer-centric. How can you go out and say we are customer-centric? And Zurich Help Point, how can you do that? So we had to build confidence in the organization. The first thing I did was I said, let's look at all the products we have, categorize, and repackage them. Categorize the ones which were customer-centric, call them Zurich Help Point kinds of product. In year 2, what you do is you take the best practices from one business division, one business unit, and export that to others. And then in phase 3, you come up with new products and services. So you really don't have to, when you're transforming a company, you don't have to come up with new products from day one. You got to think about how you can go through that journey. Every business I forced them to come up with a desired customer experience. What are the 10 things that the customers really want from those? You know what the interesting thing was? And they did hundreds of these things. Interesting thing was after they all came up with, we thought, it's wonderful. Then I said, let's go out and test in the marketplace. Only 49% was correct in terms of customers, or relevant from the customer standpoint. So what you think is customer-centric, your customers, half of your customers don't think it is customer-centric. So another lesson learned is that always check with your customers on that element of it. Create some way of categorizing all this. What is the satisfaction, loyalty, customer behavior? Create an index, or have a segmentation. create some action plans, prioritization for the organization. Otherwise, what happens is organization, they just collapse. They say, we got too many initiatives, too many things to do, and we cannot do it. So prioritize the organization. And this is a tough chart. By the way, I've been trying to sell this chart for the past 15 years, have not been successful. I even wrote a book on this thing, and still it's not successful. And if you want to buy that book, I'll get 50 cents on that. It's called Sweet Spot. So what it is primarily you do internal and external transformation. So you go through your employees as well as through your customers. I'm going to give you some examples. So in case of Zurich, we had to create internal alignment. Got the senior most team, that is GEC, we call that Group Executive Committee, that aligned first, then top 450, and then we went down, going down all the way down to the grassroots of 80,000+ employees, right? We did all kinds of things. There's one few favorite things that I'll give you some examples of. We had an e-learning tool, and we created, there's an Indian company here in Bangalore that did that for us, the e-learning tool. And I made sure the supervisory board goes through that e-learning tool first. Because they went through, the senior executive didn't have any choice, but they also went through that, the tools. Now, since the senior executives went through, their direct reports didn't have any choice, but they went through. So it cascaded down, and in 170 countries, we got 92% participation on that. It's really huge. Other little things that we did, all kinds of, anytime you turn on a computer in Zurich, in any country, the first thing you will see is Zurich Health Point. Doesn't matter which employee, which contractor, which consultant that you're talking to. Every conference room at Zurich has one chair, and that's dedicated to the customers. It's called the customer's chair. Every elevator in Zurich building has 2 steps. You see those 2 steps? Make space for your customers. Every elevator says that. So that's how we created, and I'll talk about the social media part of it. And by the way, the social media part, the way we did that to change was, written up by Business Week and a lot of different magazines as one of the most pioneer way of changing, transforming a company. The senior executive meetings that you would have, if you would force the senior executive to blog and post their strategy on YouTube. Think about it, the amount of internal resistance. People said, you're going to put your strategy on YouTube? Are you crazy? That's the sacrosanct thing. The strategy is so what I did was I basically took 20 different companies in the similar area and just wiped out their names and put their strategy right next to it. And these people, I said, just tell me which company is which. And you can get, nowadays, you can get all these things because it's a public information, right? And they could not differentiate that. So if you think you have a very unique strategy, forget about it. What you have is a unique execution. That's what you got to really focus on. And most people, they try to sell you on strategy, which is good. I mean, I'm not putting down on strategy aspect of it. But just strategy alone would not work. You got to execute it, right? So we put it up. We did it all kinds of things, blogs, Facebook, mobile, YouTube, everywhere. And it was really, really successful. Externally, what did we do? Some examples. And I'm zipping through that because I'm conscious of time. Let me show you some example of a TV advertising, if I can.
The Panama Canal must double its capacity. Building a 3rd set of locks requires thousands of workers and a global construction consortium, all secured by a single surety bond from a single insurance company. Providing insurance expertise and global resources. Zurich Help Point. Help when it matters most. A 700-ton factory component A 420-mile journey through heavily populated areas. Lots of risks. Technically evaluated and covered by one insurance company. Providing risk engineering and underwriting expertise. Zurich Help Point. Help when it matters most. Cost management, a constant challenge in healthcare everywhere. Our contribution to the NCH healthcare system helped optimize the insurance program for more efficient claims management, so a maximum of resources can be focused where it matters most, helping patients. Providing claim services and underwriting expertise. Zurich Help Point. Help when it matters most.
At Zurich, we know how much you mean to your loved ones. You're their flying instructor, their biggest fan, their favorite teacher, well, sometimes, and their family forever. That's why we created Zurich Help Point, to deliver life insurance to help protect you and your loved ones. Zurich Help Point, help when it matters most. At Zurich, we know how much your car means to you. It's your pride, and it's your joy. It's your ticket into town, and your ticket out of town. Your car is your lifeline. That's why we created Zurich Help Point. It's not just car insurance, it's designed to keep you on the move. Zurich Help Point, help when it matters most.
So, by the way, we did 153 different ads like this, right? So I was going to show you all, and then Winfred said that, no, don't do it. But the important part is the external element, we went after trying to change the internal. So it was not necessarily going together. So you have to really change your organization first to deliver what you're talking about, right? Lots of different print ads. This one is House Full of Laughter. Now that's worth protecting. Zurich Help Point. I used to think growing roses was exciting. Then I discovered this. And by the way, this guy, the model here, he did that. He's, 60-year-old. I tried that and fell flat on my face. Now what insurance you buy normally when there's some changes in your life stage. Moving this 700-ton, you also saw the TV. And Zurich does the risk management, so I'll give you a little bit of insight into it. So we do risk management. We manage all of the risk and all that. And this is in Germany. We had to take it from the port to the chemical plant, the 700-ton thing. It gets loaded, goes through town, clears out town. It's a very busy town. Everything was cleared out and completely. We reached the destination after like 48 hours because it moves really slow. And there they find out that they had loaded it wrong. It should have loaded in some other way. So the risk management, that's called risk management. So we had to bring it back, unload it, reload it properly, and then go back and do that. So when we talk about risk management, that did not work for us. Some other things, all kinds of things. I don't know if any one of you have been to Davos. The World Economic Forum. We are really huge in there, one of the 5 companies that looks really big in Davos. We have Tony Blair, and don't kill me from people from the UK, don't kill me on that. He's loved the rest of the world, and he's hated in the UK. So we never got him to talk about Zurich in the UK. But he does a pretty good job for us all across the world, talking about Zurich. We have a golf tournament, a bunch of golf tournament, music. If you ever go through Zurich Airport, you'll see a 90-meter sign there. Heathrow Airport, you'll see JFK, all across the world. Digital, huge. So when I took over the marketing group, we spent $0 in digital. That was back in 2007. By the time I left last December, we spent close to about $1.2 billion in marketing. Out of those $1.2 billion, 28% was spent in digital. So that world is really exploding fast. And I could have shown you some examples of it, but in the interest of time, got it? I'm getting the signal. So doing all of these things, what is the result? You say, yeah, this is wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about result. Zurich is #1 in terms of reputation across the world. #1 company. Fortune magazine does the most admired company in the world. It's #2 in the category. My claim to fame, I got 15 minutes of fame, got a chance to ring the closing bell of New York Stock Exchange last year, or in 2010, because we got from complete obscurity to top 100 global brands, which is one of the fastest growth that any company has ever had, with a little over $3 billion, close to $4 billion in brand value. And the DMA was kind enough, not because I was on their board, but they were kind enough to, Jody was there, to give me the Marketer of the Year award, and then Chief Marketing Officer of the Year award also by CMO Institute last year. But interestingly, normally you'll get a lot of pushback from CFOs because marketing and so the CMO and the CFO, they do not come together, right? I mean, they always have some kinds of tension. This is the only thing that made my CFO really like me. He said the people who have gone through claims, and that's the moment of truth in insurance, they have 10% higher loyalty or retention rate. That's billions of dollars. By the way, in claims, Zurich paid $27 billion per year. So 10% reduction is quite a bit of money. That's what helped. All kinds of awareness, consideration, differentiation, everything changed. Media perception changed. All across, everything changed. The businesses did extremely well. The shareholder return has been really great. Dividend has been growing quite a bit. This year we gave 8% yield on dividend. That's pretty good in this economy. And this is the second to last chart. So I'm listening to you, Winfred. I'm almost done. And I took this chart every year to my boss, the CEO of the company, and said, look, because I did your stock price, because all these things that I did, your stock price is so high. He never gave me an extra bonus as a result of that. So if you guys have any ideas, do let me know. I'll go back to him again. But the last chart, and I promised my colleagues at the DMA, I'm on the board of DMA also, and last week we had a board meeting, and we finally figured out a way. We have a new CEO. Jody, you know her well, Linda Woolley. And the DMA has been going through a lot of transition. And when DMA has a program like this, because they've been doing for so many years, normally you get a meeting like this will be 2,000-3,000 people attending, right, Jody? So the biggest issue they have is they have so many constituents, how can they really get their mission statement? And their mission statement reads in like one full page. And you'll be breathless by the time you're done with that. Finally, they've gotten a new mission statement, a great mission statement. This is the proposed one. By the way, the board passed it last week. Now we are going to take it to the general public. And this is the first time anyone is ever showing this thing. So you're the first one in India to see what the DMA mission statement is going to be, is to advance and protect responsible data-driven marketing. That's the world that we are getting into. Thank you very much.